We are actually getting started tonight, I swear. And our audio balance will hopefully be okay. Susie, like always, is here to cause Susie problems, like she does. And I forgot to make a go live post, so we're gonna do that first. Because I'm a mess. Alright. Oh, that's what I forgot to check. Automatic subtitles actually working. Yes. Hopefully they're doing what they're supposed to. So, having done that, there we go. I'm making a post. There we go. That's done. Stream up with music playing that hopefully y'all can hear. I know last time it was a little quiet. I can hear it. That's sort of what matters. I'm like, where is X thing that I put? Alright, I've moved things around. So let's see if everything's, yes, where it's supposed to be. Perfect. Okay. Oh no! As always, some of my biggest challenges are all the places that my lights are, which makes this, I'm like trying not to blind you all, by having a light in the background, but I've just accepted that's how it's gonna be. Susie, I did not summon you. Sitting in this chair is not an immediate summons, despite what you seem to think. A wild pirate appears. Pirate, I want you to know that at 7 p.m., I was sitting there going like, why hasn't Pirate gone live? Because I don't know what days are. Yes, hello, Susie. Yeah, that's true. Anything I do is a Susie summons. And sometimes it's like she just wants pets, and sometimes she's judging me. Yeah, I was very confused because I was opening magic cards because of course, hello, yes, hi, can I help you? Susie says hello. She wants pets and attention. Alright, like, if you want to climb up, you can, but you will not fit in my lap. Unless you would really like to try. But yes. So here I was, like, opening magic cards. I had not yet, put food. And I was thinking here, like, okay, well, I'll wait and see if Pirate will go live and then decide if I want to, like, put on a show or something while I'm opening magic cards. And then, yeah. So, as you can see, I don't know what days are. I forget that it's Wednesday and I'm streaming on a Wednesday, and therefore you're not going live at 7 p.m. But yes, Susie shows up. She wants pets. My captions are not showing up on screen, which I was slightly concerned is what was going to happen. So please hold just a moment while I go look at my captions. Why are you not cooperating? If I type this one, will you cooperate? Susie does kind of what Susie wants. Me realizing I'm nowhere, I grabbed my mouse, but I'm nowhere near the keyboard. Alright, let's see if it'll show up now. Yeah, there we go. I mean, mood. That's a thing. Packing and moving is a thing. But yes, I don't know what I'm doing tonight. I was kind of I didn't want to start a game, or I wasn't feeling a game, but I didn't have everything set up for anything else. I hadn't finished deconstructing the zipper of Monday's not quite correct project. But I do have a few things that we'll get to do. So once we get to it, first I'm going to show off some funny things, not funny things, but some things I bought because I lack self-control. And then I have fabric already cut and prepped for a couple bucket hats that I was intending to make and send to my parents. So it's cut. I need to iron the interfacing onto them. So we might spend, 20, 30 minutes ironing. And then, I would like to pick out new fabric. And by new, I mean a different fabric from my pile of scraps, to attempt to redo the zipper pouch. So we might discuss what of our fabric choices are there. So I'm mildly concerned. I ran, once I went live, I set to run a couple, 3 minutes of ads so that I would get an hour of freebie time. We've been live for less than 15 minutes. And I just got a little pop-up being like, you're free of pre-roll ads for 62 minutes. It just reset itself and ran extra ads. Also, my music has frozen, so let's go click that. Self-control is overrated. You are not wrong. But so we'll pull out, I think we'll do a little show and tell. I'll iron, this fabric and this interfacing to prep for the bucket hats. Maybe we'll sew a bucket hat tonight. Who knows? And then we might pick out or pull out the larger scraps of fabric that I have and potentially discuss what fabric we want to try and do second attempt at zippered pouch with. About a small amount compared to others, of magic cards today, which I was opening earlier. And obviously I'm late because we're gonna have to keep an eye out, because I thought I had charged the wireless mic, and apparently I had not. I did not plug it in all the way. So we'll see how long the battery lasts from what little charging it got once I realized. I'm probably, as of right now, actually, let me go look. The last few weekends I've had a lot of stuff scheduled, and I feel like this weekend I don't, which would be nice. I obviously have class tomorrow night. We have Mass Effect game on Sunday, but I don't think I have anything else scheduled, which is gonna be great. Which means I can spend a little bit of time. There we go. Let's put that on my calendar. A little bit of time catching up on some stuff. So I have a camera that I have not gotten integrated into my setup yet because there's a little extra work. It's a holiday weekend? Is it? I guess technically it's Valentine's Day today, but I'm assuming that's not what you mean. All I care about Valentine's is that the day after Valentine's, chocolate is half off in most shops. I don't know what weekends are. I don't know what days are at this point. Oh, President's Day. We do not get President's Day at my job, so I do not have a 3-day weekend. But that is good to know. Maybe I'll take Monday off. No crap, I have stuff I have to get done. I got tagged into a rather large presentation on Tuesday that I should not say I'm not prepared for. I just haven't prepped the stuff. I could talk this in my sleep. I'm not worried. But I just haven't prepped the materials. That's the next 2 days we'll be prepping things. Which will be fun. It's fine. I got all this stuff. I could talk it in my sleep, but it's just one of those where they're like, we need somebody to talk to this. You're the best person to do that. I'm like, okay, cool. So I think this weekend's going to be a little bit of getting my projects sorted out with whatever I want to start next, and then I am finally going to maybe sit down and do the hand sewing that I need to on by like 5 projects that I haven't. They have like a teeny bit of hand sewing to complete them. So yeah, it's been, I don't know. I would say it's been a week, but it's only Wednesday. I got a whole lot of nothing accomplished yesterday, which is to say that I read things. I thought there was a lot I was going to do in the evening that just didn't happen. Which is fine. This is how this goes. But I hope you're doing alright this Wednesday. I hope hacking is going okay. Extreme Tetris continues. Extreme Tetris continues, and you're right. The year's barely begun, and it's a whole thing, is not incorrect. I've certainly gone into multiple work meetings being like, yeah, it's some day that is not the day that it is. Kind of like I thought you were streaming today because I forgot it's Wednesday and not Thursday, despite it being my schedule change and not your schedule change. But yeah, so I'm gonna take it easy tonight. I don't know how long we'll go since I'm not doing a specific project, so we might end actually at 2-ish hours. And I'm also gonna be keeping an eye on the mic battery, so, please post in chat if I just randomly go silent. Silent in a way that isn't clearly me focused on something, I should say. But yeah, I've been working on my reading journal, touching that up and doing a couple of things. I fell down an additional planner rabbit hole, which was, there's a bunch of videos about how to like make use of your weeks section of a planner, which I use but not extensively, and I was looking for ideas, and so I was like, oh, well, I can just like start doing new things there. Yay that. Also fell down a rabbit hole of watching, I like listening to K-pop, and fell down the rabbit hole again of Stray Kids, both their music videos and then people reacting or analyzing their music videos, which is always fun. Because music. Wow, I'm like thinking where I'm like, what else is going on? What's happening? As always, I'll be over with Pirate and others on Praxis channel, Praxagora Thesmophoria, on Sunday, because I know what days are, as we've already established, at 8 p.m. Eastern for another session of Mass Effect, and hopefully this time, I don't want to say that nonsense won't happen, because I don't believe that, but hopefully this time it'll be other people's nonsense and not Tazik's nonsense. Because that's a whole thing. That's what I should post it. I should post to, I have another good photo of Susie judging me, like she does. Also, Pokemon and Pokemon Center posted a great Psyduck post. I saw it on Instagram. To quote Pirate, I don't need a 31-inch tall Pokemon plush, but Psyduck is an entire mood. And why not? So I'm going to switch camera views for a second, because I'm going to show off some things that I purchased that came in. And I want to note, this whole purchase was primarily driven by something I had to get for class. So class started it, but then since I was ordering something anyways, and it was only going to cost me like $2, it's like, well, I might as well order other things. Hopefully it won't be Tazik's nonsense. You say no. This is true. This is true. We are en route to meet Tazik's, erstwhile suitor. I'm hoping that we're going to split forces, and most of the nonsense will happen with whoever is actually doing the sneaking and not Tazik dealing with the suitor. Hey Tom, welcome in. I hope you're doing alright this evening. So let me move some of this out of the way. This is related but unrelated is I have these like 2 extra little zippers that I bought at some point that are not allocated to a project. So maybe I'm just going to start making a ton of little pouches and things. I would like to try some other simple patterns with the vinyl, because that actually turned out really good. I'm super stoked with how that ended up. Yeah, there's no way that, yeah, well, and this is the thing I'm thinking, Pirate, is like, our group is probably gonna split, assumingly, Tazik with, the doctor, to seem like this is, like, we're legit doing the thing, with the suitor, seriously considering him. And then, which leaves the other 2 to be the ones sneaking, who are seemingly not the sneakiest of the group. I don't know that any of us are sneaky. I'm sorry, the other 3 to be sneaky. My apologies. Assuming the other 3 will be sneaky, because I know how many there are of us and I can count. That's a lie, I can't count. But, hey, Puddleclum! Susie, please don't knock anything over. Please, dog. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Or maybe, like, I hope your Wednesday's going well enough is maybe the way to phrase it. I'm lamenting the unfortunate, scenario that my character Tazik in the Mass Effect actual play that we're doing is in. But yes, in my mind I'm like, oh, the 3 people who maybe won't be part of meeting with the suitor are not the sneakiest of people. So, to your point, that will probably not end well. So a couple things real quick before I switch scenes. Yes, Susie. Woe is you. I'm gonna switch over and do a little show and tell, of some stuff that came in the mail today, because I'm a nerd and that's what I do. And I should warn you all that I shouldn't say warn, but I did a little reorganizing on my stream deck to try and give me the keys to swap cameras a little more easily, than what I had set up before. Yeah, here, you all can see her. Hi. Hello. She made a, sort of attempt to climb into my lap earlier, which was not happening. But so there might be some comedy of me trying to swap cameras as I figure out how best to kind of navigate moving between the 3 I currently have set up. Yeah, Pars is a walking gun emplacement in lizard form. He does not do stealth, which is why this is going to be hilarious. Work was a whole thing today, but I did manage to get off early. Ooh, enchiladas. Well, I'm glad you at least got to get off work early. Yeah, I feel like each day I'm like, today has been a day. I did have some things, I don't want to say wrap up, but like go well today with work stuff. There was just a lot. I've also been having some weird tech issues. I feel like the snowstorm yesterday kind of did some work, even though the snow was not particularly a lot or lasting. What? Go back to your toy. I heard it's the one there's a squeaky toy. I feel really bad too, because every time she's like, I was on a call and I just hear thump, thump, loud, 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 stomp, 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 her sliding across the floor, her bone thrown across the floor, it hitting the wall, all of this noise right behind me. And I just had to go, I'm so sorry if you have a bunch of noise in the background. My dog is doing something. The person I was on the call with is like, I don't hear a thing. I'm like, oh, thank God, because it sounds like the building's falling down around me because of my dog. So, yeah, Susie is being Susie. She's coming in and out, wants attention, what have you. When I was sitting on the couch and she could have gotten pet, she was nowhere to be found. Of course. But yeah, so let's swap over. I'm gonna switch us, I believe, is this the view I want? This is the view I want. You can still see the leftover. I haven't finished trimming, the rest of the fabric off of the zipper, but we got the bulk of it off, the worst of it off, so, I'll get the rest of this off, try to clean it up a little bit, and we'll be all set to try again. Hey, Cypher, welcome in. Yeah, what are notifications? Not anything else I have to worry about. I don't know. Is this the right where you all can read it? So I put it in order. The class I'm taking is a class to make a zippered vest. And while we talked about our fabric, talked about the project, during the first class. And one of the things that our instructor mentioned was that we would want a separating zipper. And unfortunately, there's a very limited selection of them, including colors and like different materials, at like most of the local shops. So her recommendation is like, there's this company, they used to have a distribution out here that you could go shop at and get them easily, but now they're mostly based out of New York. They're still cheap though, and worth it even to ship relatively. So she recommended she sent us a couple links, and recommended that unless we just wanted to go to a Joann, that we purchase online, and we won't need the zippers for a couple classes. So we would have 2-ish weeks to get them. Plenty of time. I put in my order, cause I did want a wider variety. Came in today, and this is the card it came with. And I'm just, yes, measure twice, cut once, curse, repeat. Which feels really appropriate. So it's a company that's been in business for over 100 years, and does a bunch of materials for, I shouldn't say materials, but a lot of notions and some other things. They might also sell fabric, but some back-end maintenance stuff that knocked out a bunch of, oh no, customer equipment until someone saw a tech support call volume, until the people doing the maintenance just stop. Don't break everything. This one to start with, or this one is going to be a fleece vest. So hold on, let me see. I don't think I have the pattern in here with me. It might still be in the car because I didn't need to bring it in. So the pattern we have, in this particular instance, our instructor for the class was like, for ease of everyone, she asked everyone to just purchase fleece. It was like, we will all do the same pattern. We will all do it with the same type of fabric so that we can lay down all of the basics, make adjustments, whatever we need for the pattern. And then y'all can pick whatever type of fabric you want for like a second attempt after we've gone through all of that, which is probably a solid choice here. So we all got tasked with fleece, and we're all doing the same particular cut of the pattern. But right, this card is amazing. It made me laugh when I saw it. I was like, oh, we're doing show and tell during stream today. A new button for watch streak, for a 10-stream watch streak. So thanks for that. Last time when Leaf showed up, it was just all caps streaking, which was very funny to me. But I thought you all would appreciate this card. So the company is Wawak, W-A-W-A-K. Hold that up a little bit better. They also, I was like, why is the package so large? It's because they sent me their winter spring 2024 sewing source book as a reference. And the thing I also really like about this is, probably for relevancy, one of the things they list on it is that the catalog expires at the end of June. So basically any particular fabrics or materials or things that they have in it might change. So like, hey, this is what our stock is going to look like. So they have so much buttons, like bias tape, seam binding, pillow inserts, drapery hardware, adhesive products, like a whole bunch. I know them primarily, or I'm familiar enough with them primarily from having browsed them before for things like zippers. So they have a whole variety of zippers. And so it's only appropriate. Hilariously, I bought a plaid fleece fabric because in my mind I was going, well, this will be perfect. I can just, I don't care how it turns out. And then everybody's like, you picked the worst fabric because when you do plaid, you want to try and match them up. And I was like, well, I don't care enough. But I did purchase, I needed a 20-inch separating zipper, so I got this nice metal one. in a navy because the pattern or my fabric is a navy and navy gray and like off-white plaid. So it's a metal zipper. And for those of you that don't know, separating is it's the jacket thing. So basically, the end is not enclosed. So it's not like it's not like the zipper that we were using for our project where there's already a zipper end on it. So it can only go so far. So this is one I bought for class, and hopefully it'll match well. It's I believe a silver in terms of color, but a metal zipper tooth and zipper. So that will be for class. But then I was like, well, I'm already making this order. The thing I like about them, it's problematic if you're only going to buy one or two small things. But they basically have a flat shipping rate unless you're spending over $100. So the nice part about that is you could buy a whole bunch of relatively large things and it would cost you the flat shipping rate, which I think was $6, unless you want faster. So what I ended up doing is, and there's a reason for this. Let me go find, hold on. I need to get my other basket. Don't mind me just under the table. Oh, sweet. I forgot about you. And you. You and you. What are you? Yes, you. Not you. Not you. Yes, you. Actually, I had more here than I thought. I need to pull all of this out. I'm sorry if I just knocked the microphone and you all got some weird feedback. My apologies. There was more in here than I thought. Well, guess what, y'all? I'm a hoarder. As I think, we already know. So hold on a second. We're gonna show off some stuff. Alright. Also, I forgot that I had this other thing, so I'm gonna just pop you over onto my, whoops. I know! Well, that was unfortunate. It's fine. Whatever just happened, y'all don't need to worry about. So let's keep all those together. So, forever and a day ago, I had purchased a bunch of zipper tape and some zipper pulls from Soulful Therapy, which is also a great shop. That's also where I bought the Studio Ghibli clear vinyl that I showed you all in the little pack that I put together. And so I ordered a bunch of these because they were on discount, and I was very excited. So it's a bunch of zipper tapes with, like this one's a sort of hexagon look. This one is stars. This one you can't see. Actually, here, let me see if I can show it to you. That's not what I wanted. So this is it by itself with a light on it, maybe. Not sure how reflectively it's showing up. These should be reflective, and they turn rainbowy, but they're not quite working with all of the light that I have here. Let's try something else. There we go. Okay. So y'all can see this. It looks kind of like a weird burnt color, whatever, on it. But if I show you all the photo, maybe, hopefully you can see the rainbow that when light reflects off of it. So, reflective to create rainbow. And I bought a bunch of them and I'm like, these are really cool, but I want to use these, like, when I use them as zipper tape. So each of them is like 3 yards essentially. So I have one that's ghosty things. I have, so black with with like Halloween skulls, bats, and such. We have a white with stars. And then I did black and white as hexagon and black and white as these like zigzags. So same thing, all of them are, I'm sorry if you all don't get very good view. All of them are, you know, they look normal or like that they're weird gray, but they end up being, they kind of turn rainbow and reflective. But when I use these, and I do need to, or start planning to, is I kind of want to live, you know, use them intentionally. So when I'm doing scrap projects or like test projects such as the zippered vest, I don't want to be using these. Also, I have a similar, this is a 1.5 inch webbing that is also, a fun little rainbow reflective, and a 1 inch webbing. So I got all of these on sale. And then, of course, you can have zippers, or zipper tape without a, you know, only if I can get it freaking open. Without zipper pulls. So, let me turn this. I'm trying to like tilt the light so hopefully y'all can see it a little bit better. So I have a Sailor Moon inspired Girl on a Moon, in a rose gold. So I have a set of those, and by set I think there's 3. I have the same design in, not as easy to see, but like a gunmetal. I have a fun set of Sailor Moon kitties, so Luna and Artemis inspired pools, and then a couple of zipper ends in case I end up needing them for something. So these were all like things where I'm like, oh, these are all great, and I would like to, I need to actually plan projects to use them, so this is partially on me for having not already. But when I was thinking about like, oh, let me make some of these like scrap test projects with, say, you know, the vinyl and what have you, I want them, I want to actually plan these because I like how good they look. But then it would be way easier with a lot of these projects if I could just measure out, you know, the 15 inches or the 14 inches of zipper tape that I need and sew it in. So, since I knew that I had these, but that these were ones I wanted to plan, like, use intentionally with projects, I said, cool, Wawak also sells plain zipper tape, so why not? So for fun, I ordered a bunch of white, because white goes with basically everything, zipper tape with different zipper colors. So I have on the right a gunmetal, in the middle a nice lovely rainbow, and then finally a rose gold. Each of these are also, I believe, 3 yards. They're a rose gold. Did I do, 2 are ivory, so they're actually technically like a slightly off white. I also am planning, and this is something I want to be able to use some of these for, is I think I will finally commit to a project that I wanted to do a test build of, but I need to buy the pattern for a, like, convertible bag, so it could function as a, you know, as a handbag, as a crossbody bag, or as a backpack, depending on how you use the straps, or how you set up the various straps, and I've been keeping an eye on it. And then I bought a selection, of course, because I couldn't buy those and not buy zipper pulls to go with them. So I bought a selection of little rainbow hearts. I bought, and so basically what I chose with all of these is I wanted them, like, they're all pretty and I like them, but they're still kind of standard. So this is just a gunmetal, like, little circle. I also did a rose gold hearts and then a kind of just standard, I guess like a more standard pull tab. Just like a regular one. So my goal with this is as fun as they are with different colors and things, the intent was that I would have some basic ones that I would be a little more okay with using in test projects or other things, along with the kind of basic zipper tape, whereas these reflective nice ones, I would want to be a little bit more deliberate. Same with, the same with my Sailor Moon inspired zipper pulls. Like I want to do this with intention. I want to use these with intention. And they're not just me being like, oh, I'm going to make something here. Let me use these. But I don't want to hoard them. And then, some D-rings that I need for that project that I will do eventually. So this was a little bit of show and tell to be like, look at the things I bought for myself. But with purpose, because I'm going to start holding on to these to use for projects. I shouldn't say holding on, but actually using them for projects is maybe the better way to put it. We will put our zipper to go put with our sewing machine when we pack that for tomorrow. And then we'll put all of these together and we'll keep them someplace where I can see them. So I can actually start planning to use them. I'm never going to be, I should rephrase that. I am unlikely to ever be Imperial level good at like bags and things, but I can start having some fun materials to use for them. At least is my plan. And I'm trying my best to not hoard stuff and actually use it. So it was funny to me because I was like, oh, I have way more of these zipper tapes than I thought. And they're all really nice zipper tapes. Don't get me wrong. But since they're that like special kind of holographic, reflective, whatever you want to call it, it's not one I want to throw into like a test project. So for example, these zippers I bought for like 50 cents each somewhere are the kind that I'll use for a few more test projects for little bags and stuff. And then the nicer zipper tape is what I'll use for, the zipper tape is what I'll use once I've like done a first build and say, okay, yeah, this is cool. Now let me make a better one. AKA, once I make a good version of this and not the failure that this first one was by putting the zipper in wrong, we can, start using. So I am trying my best to not just hoard stuff and be like, I'll use it one day. Cause that's kind of where I've been. Hold on. Well, I shouldn't say kind of where I've been, but obviously, clearly, part of it is that I just haven't got into the projects. Like, my original intent was that I have a bunch of test projects or, trying to figure out fits and things. And my intent was to get to those. And of course, as we all know, last year went sideways because I made too many quilts. So I did that to myself. Lesson learned. I hate to say unfortunately, but I've been trying to decide if I really want to, like there is, one of the charity events that I did last year, or fundraising for, had pinged me about potentially doing it again this year. And typically I would have said yes, but one, I don't know what I would want to do for it. And two, unfortunately, the timing is going to overlap with a bunch of things for me, where realistically, if I do the fundraising, I want to be able to like commit to it. Especially because this in particular is a relatively condensed event. It's not like the fundraising I did with Stack Up that I spread across 2 months plus. So I haven't actually like put myself in as I'm doing something in fundraising. Not because I don't want to, but I think it is the one challenge where it takes energy to not just do the thing, whatever that actually, let me swap us back over to just chatting since I'm going to talk at you all a little bit. But it takes energy to not just do a thing or do the thing, but then to layer stuff like fundraising, doing particular projects or milestones or incentives on top of that. And I spread myself too thin at the end of last year, or through kind of the last couple months of last year, for a variety of reasons. It wasn't just fundraising, it wasn't just the quilts, it wasn't just streaming, it was many other things in personal life. And so I'm kind of I'm having self-control, y'all. I'm not overcommitting by just saying yes because they asked as much as I want to. Because I also am anticipating having to do some work travel in the next couple of months. There's a couple trips in the works. So that's like, I'm trying to be realistic and not overcommit myself again. So yeah. Thanks, Pirate. I was, as you all know, because I've posted it. Let me go find the command for it. As you all know, I've talked about how I'm finally slowly adding myself to, or slowly starting from the streams that I have begun. Oh, let me start over and make sense. I have begun uploading my stream VODs to YouTube. It's part one. And step one of that is remembering to download the VODs after a stream is over. So there's a lot of older ones. Like, I really only consistently started doing this in like mid-December. I did have a couple of older ones because I think I had pulled them for some reason. But not many. A couple from November, but not anything, historically older than that. So I've been slowly, pulling those down, making thumbnails, getting them uploaded to YouTube and scheduling them to go live like a day at a time. And it's funny that to have you yelling at me, Pirate, because one of the ones that I was prepping a thumbnail for earlier this evening, was one of the ones I think from November where I was finishing one quilt and was going, Pirate, I don't think I'm going to get this quilt to you in time for PAX Unplugged. So instead I'll get it to you later, and you being like, so you're going to do the thing I've been telling you to do, which is that you are not obligated to get this to me by a set time. And I was like, I'm feeling, very seen and attacked today in 2024, this February 14th. Hi, Leaf. Welcome in. I hope you're doing well. I would say you missed a Susie sighting, but she's still here. So if you would like, I am more than happy to move the camera long enough for you to see her. She's cleaning her paws like a cat right now. Like, I will take a Susie. Okay. Just hold. A bunch of my wires are in the way, so please don't mind me. As she stares very hard at us. Hello. Everyone says hello. So there you go. I'm sorry, the tripod set up for when I'm ironing and cutting things is slightly in the way. But you all hopefully did actually see a Susie right there. Alright. I promise you, I talked at her, so now she is here. She has now come closer where you all can actually see her. Why do you never look at the camera when you have a chance? The mic is good. I forgot to charge it again. So it got a little bit charged, but not a ton charged. Susie, would you like to look at camera, please? No? She'll look everywhere but at the camera. No, it's great. I just have to remember to actually charge it in between streams. I have been weighing whether it's worth it to get one of the little, like, clippy ones that you plug into this and then put up here and see if that gives how that sounds. Cause that's, I think, not as expensive. But yeah, lav mic is great. It's been fun. I literally just, like, assuming they're charged, can you hear her tail hitting the chair? turn them on and I'm all set to go. So I just have to clip it on, and as long as they're charged, I'm set. So that's been great. You shared, Leaf, you shared her disapproving stare. Susie is very disapproving. And it's hilarious because she's disapproving directly of me. So I had come home because I went into the office for a couple of meetings today, and was trying to wrap up a couple of things before I walked her, and then came back and finished up a few more things. And so I think she assumed that because I had walked her, that it was now time to feed her. And so here I was, that we came back from the walk, and I went and got back on, on the work computer to finish up a couple of tasks. And so I think she was like, you should be feeding me now. Normally you walk me and then you feed me. And I was like, well, it's not time to feed you yet. Yeah, I was working, Cypher. I was working. I was at my work computer, sending out a couple emails, getting a couple last few things done, some approvals and other things. And I turned, because I was like, I feel eyes drilling into me. So I turn, and there she is, staring at me over the back of the couch, like she does. So I thought you all would appreciate it. I'll post it, let me go post this to Blue Sky. Susie is very good at disapproving. I should specify for everyone. She is so good at disapproving. I made a typo, but it's still fine. You threw her off her groove. They're the pop rocks. Oh, you're finally getting some of the Oreos. Watch, stream and pick, GDC Talks, nice. She's staring at me now, too. I posted the photo to Blue Sky. With somebody with internet, be willing to go grab the post I just made on Blue Sky, because I guess technically, well, no, the keyboard's over there, so I can't type it. So anyways, I was late getting started because I forgot to, check, and I was trying to let thank you, Cypher, I appreciate you. I was trying to let the, mic charge longer. And then I was like, oh crap, I don't have everything set up, so I had to move everything. This table, was in the other room because I was cutting in front of the TV, the other night and what have you. So actually, while we chat here, why don't we, I also so I was trying to say, talking about typos that still worked out, that Susie's disapproving stare is hard to ignore when I'm working. But state is also applicable here. You can actually see it in this photo. This table was out in the other room. I rolled it back in here. So we're gonna do some ironing is what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna swap. We're gonna play camera fun right now. Which is So let's turn that one off. Yeah. I added some more stuff to, more buttons to the Stream Deck. So let me plug in the iron. So over the weekend, I believe, maybe at some point, I cut a whole bunch of fabric so that I can make a couple of bucket hats for my parents. So the hat that you all saw, the froggy cap, this was what that pattern was. So I'm going to do 3, and I've shown you all these fabrics, I think, on stream before, but I can show it to you again, which is, I'm sorry for, I'm trying to figure out how I can shuffle this. The chair kind of is in the way. So the chair sits higher. The chair, the chair sits higher because I have the computer desk at a higher height than the sewing desk. But the problem is then that the chair is too high and I hate adjusting it. So that's why y'all are just getting like funky camera views as I move around. Let me see if I can adjust the tripod just a little bit. There's only so far that this cable can go. So I'm sorry in advance. Okay. There we go. Can I move the lights so it's not? There we go. I'm like, how can I do this without blinding you all? So let's see. I'll check. Yeah, Mafia hat. Ooh, a GDC. I feel like there's always so many, and I usually try to see if we can buy like a pass for the vaults through work, just so we can watch talks afterwards. But anyways, so some of the fabrics. So first off, you all hopefully have seen this one before, is Christmas hat, Santa hat shark. So Santa hat shark I thought was really funny, so I bought the fabric, and that's what I'm making an entire bucket hat. The interior and the exterior will be Santa hat shark, because my dad will probably love it. And then staying in the theme of dad, he is also a massive fan of the Peanuts comic. So I bought for the inside, probably the inside lining, comic book, and then he's also a really big Snoopy fan, so the exterior of this bucket hat will be this red Snoopy and Woodstock fabric. So dad will get 2 hats. And then mom, we had a little bit of I don't want to say an argument, but mom was like, I like X things. Cause I was like, tell me one of your favorites. Like, cause she seems to like a lot of things. And her response was like a bunch of really old cartoons that nobody makes fabric for. So she was like, but I like Scooby-Doo. So her exterior is gonna be this kind of darker Scooby-Doo and crew fabric. And then her interior will be this lighter, still dim. And then their quilt is still in the works, but it's probably going to be their quilt now. I'm going to just say is probably going to be, they'll get it this Christmas is when it's going to happen. Yeah, the comics in black and white. Community Management Summit, streamers don't want to play your game. Oh, that's an interesting one. Well, I'm sure that that's a little bit about like, I think it's fair to acknowledge that there are just some games and some genres that don't do as well with streaming. And so unless you're going to somebody like streamers who specifically play that genre and stream it, you kind of just got to accept that you might not get a lot of traction. Or they might only do it once and then not pick it up as a regular piece of content. So what we're doing is, in addition to cutting the fabric, I have cut a bunch of interfacing. So essentially what we're going to do here is I'm laying out the fabric face with the correct side face down. And then I'm going to overlap the interfacing on the wrong side of the fabric. And this is fusible, so it'll get ironed onto the fabric. And that, it's just going to give it, like, I don't want to say stability because this is a relatively thin interfacing, but a little bit more body, just a bit. We still want these to be kind of floppy bucket hats. Oh, actually, we're doing this wrong. I should lay the interfacing first with the fabric on top because we don't want to accidentally melt the interfacing to the... Hold on, let me bring stream chat up on my phone. Oh. Alright, so is this I'm assuming this is the description. Other thing I need to be careful of is not placing all of this fabric too close to each other while I'm... The good thing with interfacing is typically you can just lay the iron on it for like 10 seconds, depending on what it is. So influencers hold increasing weight in the formula for a game's visibility and long-term success. Titles are often able to stay in the cultural zeitgeist for longer when they're able to capture an influencer's heart and community. Studios utilize multiple strategies to engage with creators on top of providing review keys. Cult of the Lamb utilized an effective Twitch extension. Shia provided bespoke influencer kits, and Armored Core provided a themed in-person experience to name a food. Yes, these are all things that have been a thing for a decade. Too often developers and publishers approach streamers with their games, not considering that they need what they need or look for in turn, other than that abstract of the idea of you and your community may like it. In this talk, Jenny details what content creators look for when deciding what to play and how teams can set themselves up for success in their game's influencer. Alright. Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing, is there's the lowest hanging effort you make is saying you and your community might like this. But, like, if you're how to phrase this? If you're an influencer manager or what have you, you should be doing research and know more about the streamer that you want to be playing your game. What are the things they do? What are things that are intriguing? You know, what's the action you want? Is it that you do want to send a press kit because you want people doing an unboxing on stream? And, like, this is... Okay, I hate to say this. This is standard kind of influencer marketing, influencer management stuff. If I'm real honest. Like, I'm not saying that they aren't wrong that a bunch of people do it badly. I'm just saying that this is, like, nothing particularly groundbreaking. I don't know what they'll say in the talk, obviously, but that's, you know, like, this is all stuff that I've been doing in my day jobs on and off for a decade. Plus. So I'm not too surprised that it's a talk at GDC. Is essentially what I'm saying. Well, and I caveat this where I caveat this with the context of people who have been in this space. No, people who have done this type of work. So, to my point, it's not that people there aren't a whole bunch of people that need this talk, in so much as it's just demonstrating people who clearly have done nothing beyond saying, oh yeah, we should have influencers, and not actually considering, well, like, what do you mean? How are you going to do this? What's the goal? How are you going to support them? Blah, blah, blah. Like, what does this program actually look like? So, to your point, there's a whole bunch of people that do it badly. And I'm not saying that's not the case. It's one of those where I'm not surprised by the talk, in so much as I'm just going, but there's people who have been doing this very well for a decade plus. I'm not saying I'm one of those people. I definitely still learn a lot when I have to do work like that. Yeah, it's almost like they should do user research before the product game comes out. Well, it's also, I think it's like anything, unfortunately, in marketing. So this is Marketing Mandy for a second. For those of you that don't know, that might be lurking in chat and what have you, marketing is my day job. Specifically and has been for the last decade plus in video games specifically, or like interactive entertainment. And so I think it is unfortunately a common fallacy with a lot of companies, and especially people who are not like doing the on the ground work in marketing, to say, well, we'll just do X. And X can be any number of marketing tactics and things. Where they go, well, somebody else did it and it was successful. Or, well, we should do this. It's actually something that I challenge the companies I work with quite often on. When, I'll give an example. When they're prepping for launch and they're like, okay, here's what we're going to do for social media. And then they list every platform under the sun that they're going to make an account for their product on. And I go, cool. Are you resourced to support that many platforms? Do you have the people, the time? Do you have the graphic designers to do the asset editing so that you're getting the versions you need? Because like the preferred size, like, you know, TikTok is not Instagram, is not YouTube, is not Twitter, is not Blue Sky, is not name any other platform, Reddit, Discord, what have you. So when you talk about doing social media, and when you talk about building a community, and then the following thing too is, are the people you want to talk to even on that platform? Despite how it might seem to everyone, there's actually larger and smaller audiences on different platforms for different demographics. So, which I hope people know. So just saying, well, I'm going to be on everything is like, well, are you trying to reach teens? Are you trying to reach, you know, core gamers? Are you trying to reach moms who play mobile games while they're standing in line at the grocery store waiting to check out? Because who you want to reach is going to determine what platforms are most important for your product, which is like marketing 101 with social media. And then 2, you need to have the resources to do it. If you don't have a community manager who's going to be resourced to be on 15 platforms, you should not be on 15 platforms. So it is a challenge that I make quite often, where they say, we're going to be on all these platforms. I'm like, cool, what's your strategy? How are you going to support them? How are you resourced to do that? And so I think influencers is very much the same, where everybody's like, well, we should. Like, streaming is big, and we should be talking, you know, influencers can affect our success, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, cool. How are you going to do that? What is your strategy for this? And having worked with, I just remember, in one of my past lives, there was a round of layoffs, and the person I'd been reporting into at the time was one of the people laid off, and I got moved to reporting to somebody else. And I just remember this person who was not a marketer going, well, I watched so-and-so do marketing for the last year, so I'm pretty confident I can do it. And I was just going, oh no. Oh no. Hi, Leaf. Yeah, marketing Mandy. I don't talk work stuff very often, but this is kind of more broad, so I think it's fine. But yeah, so it is an unfortunate thing, and it's funny because I have run into that even recently where my work in December of last year had layoffs. The manager that I reported to for like the past 5+ years was one of those people laid off. I have a new manager. And I just remember that like this particular, the person I report to now, always being like, well, what do you all do? And what does marketing do? And this, that, and the other. And then now it's like, is this something you do every month? Like, yep, this is something I do every month. Like just these things and being like, well, this is why. And I'm like, well, either because it's my job or because I've been tasked with it or whatever the case may be. And it's funny to me because it's very much there's a lot of people who have a lot of assumptions until you have to do it. And then they realize it is not as easy as it seems. Depending on what you work in. So like there are aspects, well, none of it's as easy as it seems, let's be real honest. There are aspects of marketing, which is like creative development, creative marketing, where you're like, how do we come up with a really cool idea and have it land and do the things we want it to do? And that is certainly one aspect of marketing. But there's also so much of marketing is relationship management. It's being able to build relationships and maintain them and to effectively influence, not influencers, but influence, groups and people that you work with to be willing to do the thing you want them to do. And sometimes that's through your marketing strategy. And sometimes, when it's like consumers, like we want our consumers to play our game and show it off and blah, blah, blah. And then some of it is more about relationships. Like, hey, we want the people we work with to speak well of the stuff, what have you. So anyways, there was a point to whatever that rant was at the beginning, but I don't remember now. But yes, as you said, and also a little bit of a catch up, but, I wonder if GDC is trying to expand from just being perceived as like the video game developers conference and more broad game applicable to many platforms, tabletop and maybe board game and what have you, as a game conference. Yeah, exactly, Leaf. I love the confidence, but no, is a pretty applicable sort of response, which is, I think of it, I think I have a screenshot of it. There was a video that somebody had pulled off of TikTok, I'm sure, forever ago. And it was the different types of like roles of people working in game development. And like how they dress. So it was like, how do they dress? And then what do you say about them? And I took a screenshot of the one for marketing, because one, they looked super stylish and I wish I looked that good. And two, their description was charismatic. Nobody knows what they actually do, but they're great at it. Lines, lines, lines. Which is very, very much, that's a pretty accurate description of marketing. I feel. But the thing that stood out to me the most was definitely no one knows what they actually do, but they're great at it. Because here's the thing. We talk about it all the time. You remember the really good marketing campaigns. You remember I don't know how well you all can see it, but this is my Halo 3 poster behind me. The Halo 3 Believe campaign, which is the main campaign they ran up to the launch of Halo 3. Because at the time it was expected that that was going to be, you know, the trilogy, the Master Chief story would end there, blah, 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 blah. And like, it was such a good campaign. It was so good. It was so good that I got a poster and I put it in a frame and I have had it on a wall for a decade plus. I think about it, Gears of War 3. I don't know if y'all remember. Let me tell you about some of my favorite video game marketing campaigns. We will also talk non-video game ones too, but to start with video games. Gears of War 3. If you all remember, this was still Xbox 360 days, and one of the things that was big in the Xbox 360 was you had your little, gamer tag, avatar, like your little character that showed up on your gamer tag and stuff like that. And you could get like clothing, like, so it was like shirts and pants and hats and things and stuff for them. And they ran an absolutely brilliant marketing campaign in the lead up to Gears of War 3, which was, based around the secondary character Carmine. So for those of you who've never played Gears of War 3, or the Gears of War series, I'm sorry I'm about to do spoilers for you, but it's been like literally decades. You'll deal. So in each of the first 3 Gears of War games, you would have this like nondescript, soldier character who would always go by Carmine in your squad. And in the first 2 games, they would subsequently die. In the progress of it, of the Gears of War campaign, you learned that they were brothers. And so it was this thing where it's like, oh crap, each of the brothers in Gears of War keep dying with our squad. And like, you always knew who were like the disposable, like secondary, soldier characters in those games because the primary characters never wore their helmets, so you could always see their face and you knew they weren't going to die. And Carmine was always wearing a helmet. So it was like, oh crap, Carmine. So you realize like the Carmine brother that dies in the first game and the Carmine brother that dies in the second game. So it became part of one of their campaigns for Gears of War 3 was like, they had already teed up that there was a third Carmine brother who was going to be in Gears of War 3 and you were going to at some point squad up with them. And they ran an entire campaign based around you choosing, an avatar shirt, and you had 2 options. And one said Carmine must live, and the other one said Carmine must die. And now, I don't know how legit this was in terms of actually impacting the story of the game, but the campaign was centered around the idea that you would vote by picking one of the shirts, like, didn't cost you anything, but buying it through the Xbox Live store. You would buy for $0 the one you wanted to vote for. So did you want Carmine to live or did you want the next Carmine brother to die? And it was an entire campaign and people had real strong feelings about it. I absolutely was like, give me the Carmine must live shirt. Now I thought it was funnier to say like Carmine must die, but I wanted him to live. So that's the shirt I got. And so they did all of this, and then you found out how it turned out when you played through the campaign of Gears of War 3. Which again, like everything else, was kind of teed up to be like, oh, it's the end of a trilogy. So Halo, the Gears of War marketing, yeah, you've probably heard this one before, because I do find it to be like very good marketing. Like people remember the marketing. You remember the campaigns that did really well. Or that like stick with you. But yeah, so it was a whole thing. Spoiler alert, they saved it as like a post-game, I wouldn't call it a post-credit scene because I don't think that's what it was. But it was a like, you got the end scene for the story and everything and you're like, oh, it's over. Oh no, Carmine died. And then they show that he lived. So they made the third Carmine brother like the badass of the group. In terms of non-video game campaigns, like what's something that always stood out to you? I can tell you for years, despite at the time not even owning a Mazda, I absolutely knew and loved the Zoom Zoom campaign. Like, how long did they use that tagline of Zoom Zoom? And you knew it. Everybody knew that, like, phrase. I hated it, even though it was brilliant, and they do talk about it. You can probably find stories of them talking about how it had a positive impact on sales. But the Kia Soul with those stupid, like, dancing hamsters, I hated that campaign, but I remember it. It was stupid. I couldn't understand how that sold cars, but it did. They used it literally for, like, I think, like, 15 or 20 years. Okay, maybe not that long, but at least 10 years. The Zoom Zoom. Budweiser, I can talk about, like, very specific commercials rather than campaigns. Like, I think everybody remembers the Volkswagen, I think it was Volkswagen. Now that I say it, I'm gonna, like, get it wrong. The Volkswagen, Super Bowl commercial with the dad starting the car or maybe it was Volvo. I think it was Volkswagen. Starting the car for his son who was running around pretending to be Darth Vader. There was, I think it was also a Super Bowl commercial. The Doritos campaigns. The Doritos campaigns were always, and I remember this because we were talking about it, but I think it was a Super Bowl commercial, was, it was a guy who had basically set up a mousetrap with a Dorito on it in front of a mouse hole in his wall, and then sat a couple feet back in a chair. Oh no, it was a mousetrap on the floor with a piece of cheese on it in front of the hole that a mouse was apparently coming in and out of. And the dude sat a couple feet back from it in a chair, holding a bag of Doritos, and started eating Doritos. And then there's, like, that single frame of you watching and, like, waiting to see what happens and thinking that, like, a mouse is gonna come out and like, get caught in the mousetrap. And they had a dude in, like, a mouse onesie bust through the wall at the guy for his Doritos. Yeah, and that's the thing. The hamsters didn't make sense, but people remembered it because it was so out there. And it was always them in, like, tracksuits dancing to, like, I don't know, like EDM or something. Like, everything about that was weird. Speaking of buzzword, yeah. What's Up commercial. Also, there was was it Budweiser who did the, like, I don't know, late 90s, early 2000s Super Bowl commercial with, like, Britney Spears? Was it Beyonce? And somebody else in, like, the Gladiator style? Well, yeah, there's the talking baby for E-Trade. There's, the lizard for Geico, the gecko for Geico. There was, Flo, the lady for Progressive. I mean, Budweiser having, like, that, like, classic Clydesdale, the horses thing. Like, there's so many things where when they do it right, you remember it. Now, it maybe doesn't convince you. Like, let me tell you, those, like, dancing hamsters was never gonna convince me that I needed a Kia Soul. But it was something I remember, like, reading an Ad Age article about it forever ago, where it's like, it did improve their sales, because when people go, I want to buy a car, and they don't have any strong feelings about it, the things that come top of mind are stuff that they remember seeing ads for, or what have you. And when you ran it, like, continuously as a campaign for a period of time, rather than, like, a one-off, so what we typically see with things like the Super Bowl commercials, is that it starts to create repetition and people remember. Maybe it was Coke. I guess it might have been Coke. It might have been a soda. I just remember that it was it might have been like the early 2000s. It was Super Bowl commercial. And it was, Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I just don't know how to count, y'all. And it was them, like, as gladiators in a coliseum. No, you know what I'm getting confused, or what I'm merging here, so that was, you're right, that was, I believe, a Coca-Cola commercial with them. But it was, Budweiser did the, like, night jousting fights, campaign where they put somebody in a jousting suit of armor, but made it blue and made it look like a Budweiser can. That's the one I'm thinking of, I think. When my friend got a Kia, we were like, where are the hamsters now? Yeah, Game Boy Pocket. There's, I will probably never find it now. There is an absolutely hilarious commercial from like 20 plus years ago. It ran in Japan as part of a campaign for the Nike ID line. So if y'all remember, Nike ID was essentially you could go onto their website, pick a shoe, and then pick any color or design to put onto it. So you could get like camouflage Nikes. And it was their ID line. And they did a lot of really interesting ads for it. But the most interesting one I remember seeing was actually a commercial they ran in Japan in partnership with Super Sentai, which for those of you who aren't familiar, Super Sentai is the original show that Power Rangers was based off of. And so it was this idea that, and I'll see if I can find it to share with you all, but it was this commercial where it was basically this guy walks out of a store and he's just like going down the street and hears some noise in the alleyway and like tumbling out of the alley is a group of people all in Power Ranger or like Super Sentai outfits, but each wearing matching sneakers that are Nikes. And, and then they see him and they're all like, dude, and he's sitting here panicking going, why are these weirdos staring at me and pointing at me and what have you? And then they start chasing him and he runs away. He's just like a business dude with his briefcase and everything. And so they have this very comedic chase sequence of this poor guy running down these streets and being chased by all of these rangers, essentially like Super Sentai rangers. And as he's like running away and stuff, more of them keep busting out of everywhere. And each of them are like, there's some like regular, like, oh, she's in a pink suit wearing pink sneakers. But then there's like a guy in a camo suit with like camouflage sneakers or camouflage print sneakers and things like that. And eventually he gets cornered and he's like, I'm sorry, don't bother me. And, after getting like surrounded, they hand him a suit with the sneakers on top in a matching color. And then flash cut, and he's in the outfit now too. He's also now a ranger. And they've disrupted the business, you know, all people going about their day and stuff, and they're all like apologizing and everything, like, so sorry, we didn't mean to cause a disturbance. And then you see like a random person, like another businessman, walk out in the background. And one of the rangers point at him and be like, what? And the whole thing starts again. Speaking of a series of commercials and characters in Japanese commercials, a whole range of, Sagata Sanshiro commercials for the second. There's just so many, well, it's like, you know, there's all these like way out there, commercials that ran in Japan. Like, what's the, like, singing and dancing Zelda one? Okay, we've ironed all the things, y'all. So we're gonna let the iron cool off. We're gonna set all this back. I do not think we're gonna sew tonight. I think we're gonna keep it pretty straightforward. Let me involve this out of the way. Hold on a second. Let me swap this over. BRB while I swap a couple things. Who got so popular, appeared in several Sega games. Like, listen, it's just, not sure you've seen this year's Super Bowl, but two dead celebrities are extra funny because one was built up with commercials before this, people, it was a commercial was connected to celebrity sighting. I have not. So typically I love, because like Ad Age and a bunch of the like marketing advertising, outlets will do a roundup of all of the ones that were available or like released / announced in advance, of commercials, and I just haven't had a chance to really catch up all of it. Though I know that there was one about like the different characters for like, I think it was a Paramount Plus commercial that people have talked about. Alright, so let me move this tripod because we should not need this camera. Here we go. I found it. So like it's a very old commercial. Like this is not even like standard definition days. But it was, I don't know, I stumbled across it at one point and I thought it was hilarious. Alright, over to crafts. We're going to having Patrick Stewart acting silly will always be great. I mean, listen, none of us are complaining about it. Yeah, I have to catch up. So, like, I know people enjoy the Super Bowl commercials because they're kind of a thing now, but as somebody who also, you know, works in marketing, it's interesting. It's also just like an interesting thing to do and be like, well, what did people like, or what resonated with people? Alright, so we're not going to do any more ironing or cutting tonight. But we are going to look at some fabrics to try and pick out what fabric we want to use to replace for my second attempt at this zippered pencil pouch thing. So first off, let's just up front say we ain't doing these two again. This red and this candy stripe, I'm gonna have to find something else to do test builds with this fabric. This ain't it. However, I do have this lovely, so I split my context here. I have a whole bunch of kind of what I'm calling my scrap cotton fabric, which is left over from other projects. And I split it into kind of larger pieces and smaller pieces. So these are all the pieces that would be large enough I could feasibly, cut the pieces I need here, which is like a 9x12 or something. So we have this nice sparkly red. Ideally, we would do 2 to 3 fabrics and they would be complementary in some way, shape, or form. So sparkly stars and swirls red and gold is an option. I have this deep maroon. Maybe. I have a bunch of this pink. So maybe we could do pink with a combo with another color, potentially. Left over from the very first quilt, we have this kind of star back, which actually this might be a good combo with the pink. Pink as the interior, the star black as the exterior. Potential option. Let's keep that in mind. Because I have a lot of this. Then we have, it's a little bit smaller, but still large enough. This was the back of, I think, Cypher's quilt. The backing fabric. So black with our little multicolored Dots. Tuck, hello. I hope work and lurk goes well. Well, I hope work goes well and that lurking is okay. And I've seen that there have been messages in the chat, which I promise I will get to. I've just a plain, I don't know what I needed this black for, that I have some of it, considering that it looks like I only cut out this little teeny tiny corner right here. This is all that's cut off of this fabric, so I have no freaking clue what I used it for. But I just have some straight black fabric. We have the back. This is the back of the quilt that Pirate will get one day, which is this fun kind of moon and other moon, stars, sun symbols. Chaos is always fun. Though I will say, even in games where I'm not intentionally trying to cause chaos, I cause chaos. So this is fun because it's a foil fabric. Let me see if you all can see it a little better. Yeah, there you go. That ankle. So you can kind of see the different, symbols and things. So this could be one. This is left over from a project forever and ever ago, which is also a foil, but floral. So I got plenty of this. This is a fabric I've had since one of my very first projects when I was started taking sewing classes like 2 years ago, a year and a half. It was like 2-ish years. I think I started taking my first sewing class in April of 2022. So this is probably from like my second sewing class. I have a straight solid green. I believe that this is left over from Froggy Cap. With a little bit of like weird fabric runs in it. It's from Froggy Cap because here is the cutouts for, I think, the eyeballs that I did. So we have a solid green. I don't know that I want to do the grain, but I could. Hey, DC, welcome in. I have this fun, wood grain, which was the interior, or the fabric I used for the interior / lining of the, Froggy Cap. So these paired together would not be bad. If I wanted, like maybe the green is the interior lining and then this kind of wood green like brown as the exterior, but I think we have some other combos here. This I bought for something that I ended up not using. I think I was trying to pick out a few different fabrics to use for one of the quilt bindings or one of the quilts I was doing, and this was one of the options because you only needed a half yard for binding material, and when it's on sale, some of these fabrics you're getting, this was probably $1 or $2. So we could pair it with like a solid, like a black or something else. But I feel like this might be something I could use for a different project. I'm not sure I have a good complementary, fabric if it's not going to be just like a straight black right now. You all might remember this from when I was doing too many purses. A whole bunch of this lovely, kind of pale peach color with, birds on it. Also, my music is paused again. Music, we were doing so great. I have lots of this, so if this might actually pair well with the pink. Hold on. What do y'all think? Let me actually put it where you can see both reasonably well. I hope all of y'all are doing alright today. So, I know the colors don't come through as well, especially when you're in that pink and purple tones for the cameras. So this one might work. We might try that. Pink with our birds. Leftover fabric from... I somehow ended up with too much fabric, and I'm not quite sure how. Oh, I know. So these next 3 fabrics are from the project that I did of making that quilt late last year to send to my parents for a charity thing. And I mathed everything for that quilt myself. And I mathed it wrong. Math is not my strongest suit. I wouldn't say I suck at it, but like I just did not do the numbers correctly, and I ended up with a ton of extra fabric. So I overpurchased. So I have a 3/4 of a yard of this blue, various blue tones, little white dots and stuff that look like bubbles. So this kind of looks like underwater. So I have 3/4 of a yard of this. I have a full yard of this kind of golden, and it has, I don't know how well y'all can see it, little white cross hatches and stuff in it, that I used as a sand motif. And then we have, I actually really love this fabric, which is this, again, kind of water-esque feel, with blues. It's almost like a batik, but with the multicolored shells over it. This is the one that I got like really, really, really wrong, which in my mathing of fabric, like obnoxiously wrong in my mathing of fabric, because I have 2.5 yards of this now. And this is left over. This isn't like, oh, I bought 2.5 yards. This is, I have 2.5 yards left over after cutting everything I needed for that quilt. So we have, so I feel like actually this one might be fun if I wanted to do, the shells as the exterior, the water bubbles as the interior, and then use the sand as a contrast piece. So if we look at the failed one, the red would be the blue water, the candy stripes would be the shells, and then I could do the sand to have like a contrast at the end as these like end tabs that fold in when it's closed, instead of having it all be the same. So that might be an idea. Though I'll admit, because I have so much of these left over, like 3/4 of a yard, 2.5 yards, I'm kind of tempted to not use these here, because there's some other projects that I might need more material for that this could be a good, like I have plenty of it from. So I'm not 100, like if I'm not absolutely in love that it has to be these 2 or 3, I might save these, because having these large of pieces rather than little bits and scraps is a little unusual. It might be easier for me to not have to buy fabric for some other projects. Let's see. I have left over this white with kind of little diamond motifs on it. I don't love it for something like this that I'd be putting like pencils and pins into. So probably not that one. This Leaf might recognize, because this is the fabric I believe I used as the binding for the quilt that Leaf got. Or that Leaf redeemed from charity fundraising. So this one might be fun as an exterior. And then once again, there are some pinks in here, maybe not quite as dark as this, but maybe the pink as an interior. What do we think? Like, there's enough close to, if not quite the same pinks, that I think I could get away with it. Nightbot, you're going too hard. You're less than 10 minutes apart repeating yourself, Nightbot. Yes, and got you ranked #1 auntie. Listen. For all that I make mistakes, I also do some good work. Oh, and then there's some funny ones in here. So I have this left over from something else I did forever ago with crochet, which is this pineapple fabric, which might just be funny. Won't lie. Do we want pineapples? Pineapples is an option. I don't know what this is left over from. I think that I bought a few different, fabrics, and I don't remember what I used this one for, but I used it for something. So this is kind of a tie-dye-esque one. I don't love it, but maybe this would be a way to, like, get rid of it, is to use it. And here's the thing, too, with this particular project, because, again, we're just trying to, like, get the design, like, follow the pattern and get it mostly right. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful, most perfect thing ever. Oh, this one y'all might remember. Leaf might remember it. This kind of green marble fabric. Y'all might remember that long ago, like a year and a half ago, I, on stream, made a pair of shorts with this fabric. We made them all in one session. So that's an option. We might, and honestly, things don't have to be complimentary. I just think it would be funny. We have from our boozy backpack is our Girlfriends Who Whine fabric. I actually have a couple different pieces of this because it's, we cut it into bits. So I have that one, and then I think it was on sale and I thought it was funny, so I bought extra of it. So this might be like another yard. Yeah, a year ago, what is time? Who knows? But a small enough piece, so we have that. And then we have some other fun ones here. Leftovers from, again, a quilt. We have our, these would be fun to pair together if this is what I wanted to do. We have our villainous Disney ladies. And this fabric has the word chaos in the name of it. I want you all to know. And then I also have this, like, as a contrast, white filigree, also villains, but not just ladies. That might be a good pairing. Even if I don't 100% love the idea of having a more white interior rather than color for what will essentially function as a pin case for me. But, like, this would be a decent pairing. Maybe, I'm trying to think, because I do have those two, like, bluish, zippers that I could do something fun with. This is left over from, this might actually not be large enough for anything. I think I only measured one in, our little cacti, fabric. This might not actually be big enough unless I wanted to use it as, like, the tab ends. Was that for the Disney fabric sleeve? Since I moved on, I think, before you. I bought extra of this one because it was also on sale. Is this kind of another little bit of foil, not as foily, but a little bit of foil, flowers. So, like, a little bit of reflection you're seeing is that foil added to make the flowers and leaves look like the sun is bouncing off of them. So I have this. The next two would also pair well together. This is from Quilt and other projects. So we have our Compass Rose water navigation chart fabric, which would be a charker, and then as a contrast, we have a kind of map style fabric as well. So this would be also be a good combo. I feel like in terms of fabrics I had that naturally paired well together, these two and the two Disney fabrics are both good sets for that. In terms of both the like color balance, light dark balance, and motifs. So that could be an option. And then I have a few, so like here is our Waves, also uses like glitter foil to accent the waves. So rather than the whole thing, it's actually like the line of each of the strokes has that reflective. So that's one. A more traditional, like, lighthouse sailing, what have you, fabric. I don't mind it, but I would rather pair it with like a solid color or something. Like if I had just a straight blue, dark blue that matched to one of these, I would probably like it better. I guess technically I could pair it with the solid red, but we're not using that red. Not again. We've already had one problem with it. Or one didn't go as well project. And then the last, just because it does entertain me, is our sewing fabric. Fabric with sewing things on it, including a sewing machine. There's also embroidery, so maybe it's like fiber arts and stuff. Embroidery, sewing, ribbons, thread. Scissors, again, probably would pair better with a solid color. So, I think after looking at these, I have a few top choices. So let's pull them out. The stack over here of the not choices. So we could do our maps and compass rose combination. We could do that's kind of a brownish tone, I would say. Browns, and we could do our black and white Disney villain. Hold on a second, not you. We have a couple of options that we could pair with the pink. So we have this solid pink, which could be the geometric, or could be, or it could be the birds, the pink and purple birds on the peach fabric. Technically, I don't think it's my favorite, so maybe I should use it because it's not my favorite pairing. I have the kind of wood tree trunk-esque wood grain fabric with the solid green. And then we have a bunch of combinations of things we could do with these, like holographics and blacks. So I think I could find some better projects than a pencil case or a pen case for these. So I'll be real honest. While I do like most of these other pairings better, generally speaking, like, I also think like the black, white, and gray would go great because it's a black zipper. I feel like this is a good combination I can use for something better than this, especially knowing that I messed the first one up. So I think I'm going to save Disney Villain for a different day. Maybe that'll be like another build. Because this is more browns, less blacks, I think I will also save the Compass Rose mattes for another day. I'm tempted, because I also kind of just want to use this pink, to potentially use one of these. But if I'm honest, I have, as mentioned, I have these two, blue tone zippers. So I would almost rather find another pattern of a like small pouch or what have you that requires a couple of fabrics and I can use cotton for, that will work with these shorter zippers. These are about a 12-inch zipper. The black here is a 16. I'm kind of tempted to save this particular color combination for another project that I could pair these zippers with so it would match. So I think that's what I'm going to do. This set I'm going to leave out these fabrics because I will probably do a little bit of browsing YouTube for some additional video tutorials for like little pouches and things, and see if I can't find one that will work with this. I'm pretty sure it's 12. Yeah, 12, 13-ish with this zipper length. So we're going to save this one for later, but rather than putting it back into my storage, leave it out because we're going to try and find something else to maybe make over the weekend with these. And then since I'm tabling those, I think I'm also going to table the bird pink. This might be actually a full yard of fabric as well. So I'm kind of tempted to add it in with those water and sand, the shells, underwater and sand fabrics that I have enough to maybe do some bigger projects with. So I'll hold these to use when I need more than just little bits of scrap. Which means, as much as I don't think I want to do this with a black zipper, it's not the worst. So I think I will also say, I like this fabric combination generally, but I don't love it, and I don't love it in the sense of as much as I like some of the other fabrics. And I don't know what else I would make with it. So a throwaway second test build of a pencil case that if it gets kind of messed up, I don't really mind. Feels like a good use for this fabric. So I think these are what we're going to go with. It's not as nice, to your all's point. Some of the others are really nice. But I think I'd love to save those for something else. As you all can see, I have a ton of decently sized, but still like quote unquote scrap fabric because it's less than a half yard of fabric for the most part, except for the couple that are more than a half yard of fabric. So I think around the various apparel projects for the year, I'm going to be looking for a bunch of these smaller things, these little zipper pouches or cases or things that I can make with kind of scrap fabric so that I can start knocking out some of these cottons that I just have a ton of. And for the record, y'all, I'll actually show you some more. Those are just the bigger pieces. I have the smaller pieces that would not have been large enough for this particular project where I need the largest pieces or the main pieces of this are like 9 by 12. I have a bunch of tinier bits of fabric, including, I'll show you all because I think it's funny, but I don't know that we're going to make anything with it. Well, we're not going to make anything with it right now. Including some fabric quarters, so fat quarters, which is basically a quarter of a yard. I have this real pretty underwater seahorses, shells, turtles fat quarter. My mother found it and she loved it, so she sent it to me, and I appreciate her. But it's a single fat quarter, which is So a fat quarter is 18 inches by 21 inches, generally speaking, in fabric terms. So it is a quarter of a yard cut as a square, or technically, I guess, a rectangle. So this is lovely. I would have to get something to match it. So maybe I could, actually, this might be a good one to pair with one of the other, those bigger pieces of like the sand fabric or the shells underwater fabric. So maybe I can do something there. Then, because it's funny to me, she found and bought me 2 Maruchan ramen fabrics. Like instant ramen, cup ramen. I don't know what I'm going to use these for, but I got them. Essentially, between the two, I have a half yard of fabric. Just in 2 bits. So, yeah. This is a thing that I have. To be fair, she found it, and I thought it was funny, so I said, buy it for me, and she sent me 2. And then finally, she found, it's very common, besides buying like individual fat quarters, to also, have like packs of them, like 5 to 10 fat quarters that are themed together. So like if you needed that much fabric to do a quilting or a small scale project, you could buy a bundle of them that are themed, that are complementary themed. So sometimes it's colors, sometimes it's, like patterns on the fabric or what have you. So she found a 5-pack that she bought and sent me, that I did say yes to, of Mario fabrics. Also fat quarters. We have a Yoshi. We have a Mario. I'm not even going to read it. We have our mushroom stars and coins, our 1-up and all of that. We, of course, have Miss Princess Peach. And then a Luigi, so like our main cast. All we really would need is they could have swapped out this one of the stars and coins and stuff and made it Toad, and it would have been perfect. This is still good, but since the other 4 are specifically characters. So these are, it's 5 fat quarters. So it's a yard and a quarter of fabric, essentially, when it's all put together. That I will probably at some point look up some type of project I can do that's like, oh, buy a bundle of, 4 to 5 fat quarters and make something out of it. This is what I'll use. So these are like some examples of other things, but these are specifically fat quarters, and, because I'm trying to use scrap fabric, these are the types of things that I could actually plan projects around. Like there's this project will only take a fat quarter. You can buy these. They're usually, I would say, around $2 to $3. Probably $3-ish. When they're on sale at like a Joann's, you can get them for $1.50. So altogether, like a yard of that fabric would cost you $6, but you can get a pre-cut section of it already cut down to size. So I think we're actually going to wrap up here because I'm started yawning and I haven't got much else for you all to do with me besides sit here and attempt to finish ripping this fabric off of the zipper. I'm probably going to, make an attempt to, I'll cut this fabric. I have the fusible fleece in the other room. So I will probably make an attempt to cut this fabric in the next couple of days and make a second attempt at sewing this project. I'm probably going to do it off stream because I think trying to be on stream and respond to chat and, go on side tangents and stuff while I was also attempting to watch and rewatch bits of a tutorial video just did not work. So this is probably going to be an over the weekend project attempt. And then, as mentioned, with a couple of the others, like the geometric fabric, multicolored rainbowy one with the blue zippers, I'm going to look up. I forgot to swap this over. Actually, no, it's fine. Even though we were doing maker and crafty things, this was still largely a just chatting stream. So I forgot to switch the category, y'all. Whoops. But yeah, so I'm going to look up some video tutorials, some additional ones to see if I can't find something that can use that other fabric with the shorter zippers. So you might see additional multiple pouches and things over when all is said and done by Monday of next week. So real quick, we're going to wrap up on a couple of things. First off, reminder, I forgot to make a command for it, but I need to. Reminder that on Sundays you can find me with other fun peeps like Painting Pirate, Praxagora, Thesmophoria, Pope World Build, what have you. We're playing in a Mass Effect actual play. My character has unintentionally, I want to be very specific here that for all that I do cause chaos, it is not planned chaos. It was not intentional chaos. It was not preemptively, thought out. The chaos that has happened so far in that game has just happened. It has happened to me. It has not happened because of me. It was not planned. But that's Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern on Praxagora Thesmophoria's channel. And then, as a quick reminder, you already know, because we are streaming right now on a Wednesday night, which is atypical for all of the month of February, I will not be streaming on Thursdays. I'm streaming Monday, Wednesday, instead, because I have class Thursday. So it is possible that either Monday or Wednesday of next week, stream will be doing homework from class, depending on how class goes, and we start sewing tomorrow. So, possible that there will be some we're gonna do multiple things on stream. I'm gonna start with homework and then we'll transition to one of the other projects, like the bucket hats or something. And I have not yet, but I am going to pick a game for us to start. I've been looking primarily at stuff that's max 10 to 12 hours long so that we could feasibly complete it in a good, 3 to 5 streams. So my plan is, I know we've done a couple back-to-back, or we did multiple sewing streams or crafty streams this week. The plan is to kind of have a crafty stream and then a video game stream so that I'm mixing it up and what have you. Yes, listen. Chaos just happens to my character. This is one time where did I make some selections because I thought it would net out to something funny? Yes. That is a little bit of how I built my character. 100%. Anticipating that there would be kind of funnier things that would come out of it. Is the particular scenarios of chaos that have happened so far intentionally planned and the type of chaos I wanted to sow? No. This is the chaos that happened to my character, not that I did to the character. Or not that I did with the character, I should say. It was not intentionally caused by me. The subsequent outcome of decisions made by my character because of how our GM rolled the dice. Technically not my fault. Technically, I forgot about the happy sad die. So maybe that's on me. But yes, so Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, Praxis channel. You can catch the nonsense there. Rest of this month, the next couple weeks, will continue through, I believe, I don't have my calendar right here, through the first week of March, because this is a 5-week class we started last week, so we'll run into the first week of March. I will be Monday, Wednesday streams, because I will be at class on Thursdays. We might get periodic other streams just because of stuff going on, and I know there's some other stuffs. Words are hard, y'all. Other stuff in the works that I will get to hopefully talk about soon, but is not yet public. That's exactly it. I made decisions that just happened to lead to chaos. Like, I want to be really explicit here that while I was sure some chaos would occur, this is not like, for example, my Baldur's Gate 3 character and so subsequent character for the one-shot we did at Aresia, which was built entirely with the intent to cause chaos. Her name was Chaos. This was I will build a character and I'm sure some funny things will happen, but I'm attempting to play them in the vein of the character. Context for any of you who have not caught the 2 episodes so far of the Mass Effect actual play. I'm playing a Solarian. And as we know, Solarians are intelligent, but don't necessarily have self-control, is maybe how I would phrase it. So before we did the first episode, I absolutely sat and watched a bunch of clips for Mass Effect of people talking to Solarians. I did not use Morden as the only one. It was like chatting with a variety of Solarians to understand, like, okay, do they all talk? Are they all, like, is this a species thing? The way that they speak quickly and seem like they're on a caffeine high consistently and what have you. And it was that tracked. So that's how I played my character, and this has just subsequently led to chaos. But yes, so Mass Effect on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Streams back here as usual Monday and Wednesday. I've been a little inconsistent the past few streams, but trying to kick off around 8 p.m. Eastern. I will, before the end of next week, get us started on another game. In addition to crafty things. Where it feels appropriate, I might throw in a random extra stream over a weekend or something, but I think having 2 of my own a week and then taking part in a third has kind of been good enough. I don't want to say good enough, that's not the right phrase. Exhausting enough that I'm good with not giving myself extras. Also, shout out to everybody on Team Cypher and those who are friends of Team Cypher that have been fundraising for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. I believe we broke $12,500 in fundraising for the past few weeks, so props to everyone on that. I believe we're going to be wrapping that up soon from a campaign standpoint. So thanks to everybody who have donated here, brought us up to $350. I'll be dropping in my own donation probably tonight so I don't forget before the campaign wraps. But now that we said all of those things, and then I posted the socials just to be like, hey, you can find me on those channels. I post inconsistently to my blog. I do post slightly more consistently to things like Blue Sky, not as much Twitter nowadays, but I still check it occasionally. And I am very, very slowly, eventually at some point in probably the next few weeks, going to try and catch up my YouTube channel to my current stream schedule. So that I still have probably another, if I do a post a day during weekdays, another 2-ish weeks of backlog VODs to get up before we'll be kind of caught up with where we are now. So, my goal is over the next month or so to get us to that point so that essentially, I'm just uploading kind of the most recent VODs from Twitch. So having said all of that, we're going to switch over to streams ending, because I'm getting more tired now. Apparently I'm exhausted and I didn't realize it. Because I don't normally stream on Wednesdays. Ooh! Punkelnix is on playing Sea of Thieves. So let's go there. So real quick reminder, hashtag. Alright, so, thank you very much for hanging out with me, everyone. I promise that Susie will get all of her head pats. I appreciate you keeping me company while I've been here kind of nonsensically talking at you for about a bunch of different things, including Marketing Mandy making an appearance. So we are going to go over and raid Uncle Nix, who is good people, and I have jewelry from him. Great glass artist, well worth it. We are... I've put up 2 head pats since you threw off Susie's dinner schedule. Yeah, I'm the worst. And then she got to stare disappointed at me, disapprovingly, and you got to share it with people. So, like, I think you're the one winning here. But we're gonna raid over to Punkelnix, who's good people. You can use hashtag LuckyRaid with the Susie or any other hi or hello email that you have. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I do appreciate you. We will be back here as usual, for our normal scheduled time on Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, I might see you all Sunday evening on Praxis channel. And as always, everyone, please be safe, be healthy, happy crafting, happy gaming, and have a good one.